But for the next topic, you got the first dibs on this. Why everybody? What's up, man? Just tell me about why everybody coming for Joe Budden and how. What is this, man? Tell me what's going on.
You ready for me?
Let's go.
All right, man. Here's why I think everybody's coming for Joe Budden. Because Joe Budden puts himself out there. Right, wrong, or indifferent, he puts himself out there. And also, he is someone, despite becoming a bit more Hollywood, he still talks his shit about people. He's not become like too afraid to talk about people making moves that he doesn't agree with. And like with the Charlemagne thing, at the same time where Joe was negotiating what he was doing, and Charlemagne's telling him, saying you don't know how to negotiate properly or and all this other stuff, and Joe was like, "No, bro, I understand my worth, and I'm not accepting less, and I want ownership. If I don't get ownership in what I'm doing, I'm not going to do it." Whereas some people will say, "Hey, I'll do this joint venture, and you don't own your project, you don't own everything, right?" So Joe goes against the grain because
Yeah.
again, Joe knows his worth. Now that's me, the Joe Budden fan speaking. Also, Joe be wilding sometimes. Like he's disrespectful. He comes from a generation where men could do things to women that we can't do anymore. And I think sometimes we get lost in that. And not to say that it's okay, some of the stuff that he's done, but I definitely understand the recent shit. But it's easy to pile on somebody while they're down.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, it's like the Me Too movement, man. Once one person makes an allegation and then other people go, "Oh, wow, I experienced the same thing from that person. Let me speak on it," right? And then people get more comfortable because people don't like to be the one.
Nope.
People never like to be the first person to have done something, and then you don't even know if people have experienced what you're going through. So once you find out someone has and can identify with it, you get more comfortable. So like with him firing Rory and Maul over the fucking on the air, what happens? The chick who was on the show before Maul was on the show, she comes out and speaks on how she was let go from the show and how Joe has some odd practices. And here's the thing about Joe, man. I think Joe is top end talent. As a talent, he is a great fucking talent. But I do not think Joe is necessarily management material. I think that he should, if he's the CEO of the Joe Budden Network, he should have a fucking general manager, a fucking chief of operations, a chief of staff, or somebody who does all of the business shit for him and just takes his business mind, like the things that he thinks, and phones it down to what actually needs to happen day to day to run the business.
Damn. Nah. Woo. You hit that on the head right there.
How much? Oh, good
That
timing.
was that was on point. That was on point. I think. Dang. That's a good perspective. Talking about he's damn, that's harsh, but it's real. He not management material. He's really not. You can tell just as his employees or whatever he wants to call them, they how they talk about him, how they view him, how they like how he is towards them. It's just like kind of weird. I don't know if they think, especially with this. I'm gonna just say it, I don't even care. The See the Thing Is podcast, yo, trash, trash. I watched 2 episodes. I literally could not even stomach them episodes. Like it's so hard to watch them. They're not good. They have no personality. They just sitting there talking about this stuff, and they have like Joe was trying to make it to where you talk about probably the same type of stuff that he's talking about in his podcast, but from a female perspective. But they be like,
A woman's perspective. You can't say female.
I can't say female no more. Dang,
No.
what ain't that's what they is anyway? You know what? Whatever. A woman's perspective. Um, and they just be dry. They just be like not really getting into any type of topics. They don't want to say the wrong thing and all this stuff. So Joe Budden kind of he didn't hit the ball out the park with the See the Thing Is podcast. I know what he was trying to do, but I think he was trying to go too fast. He got out the Spotify deal. He said, "All right, I want to be a mogul. I want to own my own stuff." So he
A
was like,
joggle.
Right, exactly. So he was just like, okay, let me just make a couple podcasts. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna have the same exact setup as us. I'm gonna get 3 girls, just like me, Maul, and Rory, 3 guys, and they're gonna do the same exact thing. But what Joe failed to realize is that's not a 3 women aren't the same as 3 male dynamic if you just throw them together. Like Maul and Joe is for good friends. Rory and Joe is good friends. So it went together and they just all came together. The thing is, they just threw them together. And then I remember when Bridget Kelly was on one of the Joe Budden podcast episodes, she did really good around the guys, but she does not do good around other girls. And to be honest, other girls really don't be saying shit to other girls, and it's not that good. It's not good TV to me. And I don't care what nobody got to say about that. It's just really not. Unless you have a girl that is willing to go out on a limb and actually talk about what people want to hear from women. Because I do want women's perspective in certain things. I'd be like, I want to know the real stuff. Like, tell me. But if they like, I don't know, and then they'd be like going around, beating around the bush and all that, we ain't got time for that. But Joe, yeah, man, I don't know. People coming for him though. Jesus, I know he hurt.
So yeah, I think he's hurt, and he said he was off social media. I haven't listened to podcast today, but one thing about Joe and the beauty of what the Joe Budden podcast once was, and I think it's getting back to that now with his new co-host. He does things for content. Like, he will say something because he knows it's good content. He knows it'll create a good conversation. And a lot of people don't understand that stuff, that like, hey, yeah, sometimes you have to be a bit hyperbolic in the things that you do in order to make it good. Or
Dictionary word of the day.
Or go to a place where
hyperbolic. Let me write that down.
Or you go to a place, right, where you're actually gonna be vulnerable and you're gonna say some embarrassing stuff or do something embarrassing to make other people comfortable around you. Because back to the same thing about not being the first one to do something. We've lived in different places, right?
Yep.
And you know that when you're around the people who you grew up with, or say your college friends, you're going to act a certain way pretty much no matter what. But when you move to a new city and don't nobody know you, or you're on vacation, you'll do some wild, dumbass shit because you're like, bro, don't know these motherfuckers know me. I don't give a damn. I ain't even thinking about that shit. Where Joe has gotten to the point to where he is more comfortable doing that within his comfort zone on camera, on mic, for the moment.
That's true.
And I haven't listened to that podcast because I do enjoy a woman's perspective on things. That's why I like to have women, a female guest. You can say female if you're describing something that's feminine. You just can't call them a female. That's what they told me.
That's the craziest shit. Anyway, whatever.
Right. So if I have a guest on that's a woman, I bring them on to provide their perspective because I think their perspective is interesting. But like you said they didn't have chemistry. Why? Because most women don't have friends. Most women's friends are the friends of their partners, are their boyfriends' friends' girls. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I have to say that all women don't have friends because I know women who have friends. But from my experience, from my viewpoint, a lot of women aren't as interested in being social as men are with other women. Like, how many girls have said to you, I don't even like to be around other girls for real. I like to hang around the dudes.
8,000.
It's like, for real? All we want to do is fuck. But then if one of us fuck, it's going to fuck up the social dynamic. But who is beaten?
Yo.
And then you end up getting to know him, and y'all can become good friends. But like, it usually starts off with niggas want to beat.
Nah. Okay. That brings me to, we still on this topic, but fuck this topic. I feel like, shout out to Roy and Maul. I watched they whole little podcast they did or response. Mm-hmm. And they had some good things to say. Maul definitely was on just like you being disrespectful. Like fuck the friendship, fuck the business shit. Like you saying certain shit is not my business when I have a percentage. I don't care which way you want to say it. That's fucked up. And that is fucked up, to be honest. I don't care what you saying. You're not going to just say to me, oh, that's none of your business. What the fuck? I'm on this goddamn show that I've been on forever. What you mean it's not my goddamn business? Yes, it is.